books by authors with whom I will disagree and who I assume will frustrate me in order to grow in my understanding of both my own views and also the point of view of others. I think every reader should make a habit to once or twice a year read a book by an author with whom you're pretty positive you won't see eye to eye with. I expected Boundaries by Drs. Henry Cloud and John Townsend to be such a book. When to say yes and how to say no to take control of your life. I thought that this would be a book teaching the current popular but wrong understanding of love your neighbor as yourself. And that wrong understanding is you can't love your neighbor until you first love yourself. So I was hoping that somewhere in the book I'd be able to glean a little bit of helpful information for my relationships while tossing most of the book out as garbage. I was so wrong about this book. Boundaries is wonderful. It was so great. My wife got sick of me talking about this book while I was reading it. At one point she said to me, I really think I need to read this book too. And then a few days later she was saying, I don't need to read that book at all because you keep talking about it. You are reciting the entire book to me. I couldn't help but discuss it with my wife and with my friends while I was running because this book is filled with quality wisdom on how to navigate our friendships, marriages, church relationships, parenting, and work relationships. I went from not knowing what a boundary was to seeing boundaries as a thoroughly biblical principle. If you believe in Galatians chapter 6 that we need to both bear one another's burdens and carry our own loads, you believe in boundaries. Boundaries are setting up lines as barriers in your life where you are defining what I am responsible for and what you are responsible for. And then in any friendship, working through those areas where we need to help each other, where we need to share responsibilities because they are too big for one person to carry alone. The developing of boundaries is key to creating and maintaining healthy relationships in every part of our lives. I honestly cannot think of a person who would not benefit from a lesson on boundaries. It has already begun to impact the way I parent my children, both to the betterment of my children and myself. There's just so much wisdom in this book. Here's one small example. When we have a person we can't take no from, we have, in effect, handed over the control of our lives to them. All they have to do is threaten withdrawal, and we will comply. Rarely do we see the manipulators in our lives as the controllers which they are. And the reason we have a hard time seeing that is because we love these people in our lives and we don't want to view them as controllers. But boundaries helps us to open our eyes to the ways that people are manipulating us when they threaten to leave the church or the marriage every time we fail to do exactly what they want. For pastors, I can't recommend this book any higher. This book will help you in your counseling and in your wisdom that you give to others, and also just managing those daily church relationships. And to those who aren't pastors, I would encourage you, before you start reading this book, look through the table of contents and see what will be most applicable to you. I think everybody should probably read the first 5 or 6 chapters of the book. That information is great for everyone. Then after that, find the chapters that will be most helpful for the trouble areas in your life. You don't need to read all of Boundaries in order to gain a wealth of information from this book. Boundaries by Drs. Henry Cloud and John Townsend will most certainly be one of my favorite reads of the year. And I'm going to keep going back to this book again and again for wisdom on my own relationships. And so I would encourage you to pick up a copy of Boundaries today. If you enjoyed this review and you want to stay engaged in the wonderful world of Christian literature, please subscribe to the Rev Reads YouTube channel.